my clients, whether they are buying to rent or buying for their own stay, when it comes to private condominiums, of course there are things they like, they don't like, stuff like that. But one of the things that's always in the conversation is it a good financial decision? Meaning, will the price of the asset or the condo go up over time? So I have my simple rule, okay? Other than all the analysis and everything else that we do to make sure that the risk is low, all that is only paper calculations, which I can do for you if you want. So there are a couple of things, a couple of condominiums that are going to be launched, and there are also some balance units available, Lentor, Hillview, Grand Diamond area, of course new launches coming up, in Tampines, Toa Payoh, Chuan Park, Mayor Blue, and so on. So here's my ground rule after doing all the calculations and everything looks fine, right? I have a simple ground rule. Number one, if you're going to buy it for rental, the most important question to ask yourself is, in that location, for that size unit, is there a demand for rental today? And in 3 to 4 years' time, will the new supply affect the rental prices? Will also the master plan and everything else that Singapore is planning for that location will improve the rental returns or decrease the rental returns, or is there more risk? So that is fundamental rule for rentals, okay? But for your own stay, of course you like a location, you want to buy it, then you worry about, if I buy already, price too high, then later I lose money. So you worry about that. So just to get over that problem, I always say look for the X factor, because, for example, right, majority of people buying houses to stay are family units. So when your condominium TOP in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, I think the fundamental question you have to ask yourself is there the X factor for that condominium that people at that time ready to buy will come and buy from you? So, sometimes it's very difficult to explain. Two condominiums next to each other, one has more brand value. So, for example, right, you just have a look at reserve residences did very well, and of course the nearby new launches also doing quite well. So when it actually comes up for TOP, will a family like to buy a 3-room, 4-room, 5-room from you and stay there? So that is the X factor is very important. Of course, the supply of people who want to live there is also important. So let's see. Like Grand Diamond, so far everything points to a very high X factor. Next to the Hawk Center, next to MRT, next to school, and we just get a good vibe, and people are buying, and everything looks fine. So if you bought a balance units there, I think probably the X factor will push up the prices, because once it's up, people will say, I want to stay here. Then they will be ready to buy, and they will buy from you. So will it be the same for Chuan Park? Will it be the same for any of the new launches, or let's say Lentor? Are there people who see it as a high X factor and say, when it TOP, right, they say, I want to live in Lentor, I want to live in one of these condominiums, and which one? Is it Lentor Mansion, Lentor Modern, or one of the other ones, right? So X factor very important. I can tell you most agents, worth their experience, will be able to roughly tell you, hey, this one got high X factor. Families, when it TOPs, they will clamor to buy a good unit there, okay? And some, of course, like for example, if you look at Treasure Tampines, Momentum Park, and so on, Riverside, if you look at them, they did very, very well. They sold well. They, on paper, make a lot of money. But are you able to sell it today? That means everyone who bought, who wants to sell, can they sell it and walk away with the profits? So that's something to consider also, right? So don't just be FOMO, and do worry a little bit about the financial impact on your purchase. So think about the X factor. So if you need more advice on something, you can always call me. But I think the X factor is a major driver when it comes to making profits when it TOP.